Well, welcome back to the shop, guys. I'm Chris with M7 Metalworks. Today I'd like to tackle the PTO seals. Got some leaking seals for sure because I've got a lot of oil on the ground when I had this thing full of oil. So before we can get to the PTO in the back, we've got to address some of the seals up here. I've got a pretty substantial kit that I got from Korves Oliver out of Illinois, and I've done quite a bit of business with them over the years. On a 770 I rebuilt, I got a lot of parts from them as well. And so I've done the same here. So I've got, it's got seals, it's got O-rings, it's got a lot of stuff in here. It even comes with needle bearings. So I believe the needle bearings are back in this, if I recall. So anyways, I've got everything loosened up. So let's just get this thing taken apart up here. Basically, we're gonna remove this and this, and then we'll turn our attention to the back. I could have taken a block of wood or a piece of brass or something and struck this shaft that was sticking out on this side because it's all one. Now I didn't know if there was a coupling between the two. I wasn't 100% sure, and so that's why I didn't do anything like that. But anyways, just so you know, that is definitely something that you can do if you're struggling to get it out the back. Got a little bit of sludge in this, more than a little. I mean, that's like pudding almost. So I had pretty good oil come out of this, but I am going to clean that up because obviously all that sludge, that carries debris, that carries dirt and grime and grit, and we don't want that messing up our new seal. So it's best if we start out with nice clean oil And so I think what I'll do is I'll take some kerosene and we'll kind of flush this thing out. You can see right there, and that corresponds with right underneath. I've got a drain nut there. So I'll flush this base of it. Now up top, it's all settled on the bottom because up top, it's pretty clean. Well, guys, I just cleaned this part up. This is our cover plate for the back where the PTO comes out of the rear of the engine. I've got the seal for this. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this felt seal, and I don't have a replacement for this. So if I can't find one to match that, I want to be able to kind of clean that thing up. I've already cleaned this part, and so that's why I've got it wrapped in plastic. So my two seal, well, I send you a set of needle bearings to replace the needle bearings here, and then there's a seal right behind that. All right, guys, we got her hooked up here. Let's see if I can drive that thing out of here. It is really, really in there. It does not feel like it's moving or look like it's moving at all. Well, guys, the only thing getting that bearing out was heat. So I had to heat that gear up, and to finally get that bearing out, it was truly seized up in there. All right, guys, so I'm at the point where I've cleaned everything up. So my bearing's nice and clean. I haven't got any oil on it yet. I'm gonna put some gear oil on it before I install it. But right now I'm gonna put this gasket sealer in there, or gasket maker. It's just called the Right Stuff. It works really well. And there's a little channel that this goes in. And I'm gonna just put just a smear of it in there. That'll help kind of seal that thing up, make sure I don't get a ton of movement. So that's something that the parts manual does recommend doing. So I'll just try to put a little bitty bit in here. Just kind of rotate my finger around. I did put a little acetone in there earlier, just to kind of help allow that thing to seat in just a bit. And then just for lubrication purposes, it won't give me much lubrication, but it'll give me a little. I'll just smear a little bit of that around it. So the open side is out, because that's going to go towards the transmission. And there we go. So bearing's going to go right there. Let's get this over to the press and we'll just press that in. Now I've got just a little aluminum block on there. This seal driver is only going to allow me to go so far. Yes. I like that. Okay, guys, so the next seals we got to pull out is this one right here. You can see an O-ring right there. Let's see if I can get that pulled out for you. Just using a little pick, as you can see. So there's the old O-ring. All right, and then I've got a seal right here. And then he's popped out. All right, there are other things I could use. I can use my seal remover, but I've got a kind of a interesting little, I don't know what they call that, Chevy bow tie screwdriver, but that's kind of what I use to pull that out. So that just pops out nice and easy. So now let's install these two. I'm just going to use this to kind of help me move it along. I'm also going to put a little bit of sealant on there. This stuff is some nasty stuff. It works great, but boy, it is a pain in the rear when you get in on your hands like I am. Okay. Rather than hunt it all over for that brass hammer, I've got a nice lead one here that's well used. It'll do the job just fine. Do that just a little bit more. So there's the new seal. Don't get too concerned. That does have a little bit of movement right there. Once, of course, it engages and you get everything locked in, it doesn't move like that, but or at least has very little movement. All right, guys. So we've got 3 sets of PTO, or oh yeah, most of it's PTO, some of it's clutch, regular clutch, but these 2 are in the same housing section, the midsection of the tractor where we do the Z-split. You get access to these, and then this is just the rear of the PTO shaft, and of course that's your actual shaft that you hook up to your implements. Everything's been cleaned, so now it's time to take these seals out. So you can see I've got an old seal here that we'll knock out, and a little O-ring here. So let's just tackle that O-ring first. Up underneath it, and then you can just roll it out of there. So there's the old one, there's the new. We'll throw that seal on there. Pops in there, no problem. And now we got to pop that seal that's on the bottom out. So I've got these, they'll just lift up, they'll just elevate this a little bit off my table so that I can knock that seal out. I'm just going to use a simple punch and give her a pop or 2. So there she is right there. I think I'll put my sealant in there. Okay, just a quick little just a hair bit more. Pull that and take a quick peek. Okay, looks great. So guys, I'm going to make one suggestion on this particular, well, on all of them, pay attention to it, but pay attention to how that seal is placed in the sleeve of this. For instance, this sleeve's got quite a bit, I mean, there's quite a bit of play in there. That's nearly an inch. That's at least 3/4 of an inch, and this thing's probably a quarter. So this seal can be deep, it could be mid, it could be shallow. There's a lot of different variation you could do with it. I would suggest when you're doing this to put it in a different location than what it was in before, simply because you're going to see some wear, and I didn't show it on mine, but I've got some areas of the shaft that come through here that actually have some wear on them. So move those seals. In this case, I'm going to move that seal in some, and that way it's this little lip is riding a little bit different area of the shaft, and hopefully seals up just a little bit better. So just something that you might consider when doing this. Rotate it. Let's take a look at it. Looking pretty good. Okay guys, so the last one here, by the way, I suppose I have to show you. See if I can get that on the camera real well. So there's the new seal. You can see on the inside, I've wiped the excess, and it just seals the inside of that so beautifully. There's just no oil gonna leak around this. Now, it doesn't affect this part of the rubber seal, but just prevents the oil from being able to get through where the housing is at. So now let's do this one. So this is just our PTO gasket, and we'll stick that aside. This is the felt, what they call a felt seal. All right, so on this here, this is our the rear PTO seal. So I am 100% certain I'm leaking from here. If you look inside there, I don't know how well that's going to show. Let me see if I can get that on camera. All right, so there's a little void right in there. That's where the felt seal goes, right in there. So we'll knock this rubber seal out and put the new one in. And then the felt seal, I'm reusing this one because I didn't get one in my kit. So what I did is I cleaned it all up. I used diesel fuel and cleaned it up, and so I think it's in decent shape. It's really, I think, more of a dust cover than anything. Let's go ahead and knock this seal out. Same way we've been doing it. We're just going to get a height. There she blows. Now you can get a little bit better look at this. The inside races. So that's the inside sealing surface, and then this lip here is where your felt will ride. So you can pop your bearing right in there, no problem at all, and let it seat right up against that wall there, and then just put your felt in. Easy peasy. Let's see if we can drive it home. Okay. Okay guys, so we've got the seal pressed into place. So it looks fantastic. I can see on the inside here, I've got some of my sealant all around the lip. So that sealant will harden up like rubber, and it'll rubberize and it really adheres well. So now we're going to put the felt seal in, and so we're just simply gonna kind of tuck that bad boy in there. we've got our felt seal in there. Pretty happy with that. Felt too big to go in there, but I pulled it out of there, so I knew it fit. So now we've got all of our seals replaced and our O-rings. So now we can start putting this thing back together. All right, guys, so there is one last O-ring seal, and it's in this PTO shaft, which sits about 4 foot high. You've got to take this pin out, punch it through to the other side. I've hit mine several times. I mean, that pin is in there. I'm going to have to heat this up to knock my pin out so I can get some expansion in that metal. I'd really prefer not to do that, because then once I do that, man, I am bought and paid for. I have to get that off, because my O-ring then, which is rubber, is toast, because it'll melt with the heat. So what I'm going to do, because I don't believe I've been having a leak down there, is I've got it all cleaned up inside, and so I'm just going to put a paper towel around it, and if it's going to leak, because I don't believe I've got any leaking from this, if it's going to leak, WD-40 is going to leak through it before my thick hydraulic transmission oil is. So we're just going to shoot some of this in there. Give it plenty to get through. Yeah, it's got a little pull of WD in there. So guys, that WD-40's been inside this shaft for quite some time, and it still has not leaked through. I still have a little pull of WD-40 inside there, and so my shaft is not leaking. So I'm going to leave well enough alone, knowing that it'll be a fairly thick hydraulic fluid, hydraulic trans fluid that goes in the rear end of that thing. And if I can't get WD-40 to leak through it, I'm probably not going to have an issue with it, at least for a while. So if it leaks in the future, I suppose I can swap it out. But if you do need to remove your pin and change out that O-ring, that's how you would do it. I'm not going to do mine again because my pin was so hard. I'd have to heat this up, and I really don't want to do that. So we're going to put everything back together, guys. So that's really the probably the end of this video. Hopefully it's helped some of you. I know when I first started, I got the seal kit, I seen how many seals and O-rings were in it. I thought, wow, that's quite a bit of stuff there. And then you don't know where everything's at. So hopefully this has helped you a little bit in being able to tackle your own project and get that PTO sealed up. And like I said, I just changed out the other seals and O-rings in mine just because they came in the kit, and I'm sure mine were pretty old, so might as well switch them out and get some new stuff in there. And I'll be honest with you, I was pretty impressed with the seals and the needle bearings. Looked to be, if not everything, most things were all USA made, and there might have been one Taiwan seal, if I recall. So anyways, guys, I hope that helps you. I'm Chris with M7 Metalworks. God willing, I'll see you on the next video.